Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Queenie for those who don't know me, reviewing Love is Blind Germany Season 1, Episode 8. I'm really shocked that I caught up because when the season started, I wasn't even on this continent, but here we are, right on time. So before I get into it, please make sure to like this video, subscribe and hit the bell, and leave a comment down below. So Hanni and Daniel are having a conversation about her dress fitting session. She tells him point blank, I was not feeling like a bride. The dresses did not make me feel any more solid on my decision. It's just, it's just not working for me. They then talk about her parents. Her parents are divorced. It clearly has taken a toll on her.
Ja gut, Liebe ist ja selbstverständlich, ne? Also ohne Liebe geht ja gar nichts.
Meine Eltern, die hatten immer eine wunderschöne Ehe. Ja. Das war für mich so das Schlimmste eigentlich, was es gibt, dass die beiden sich getrennt haben. Aber natürlich ist es traurig, wenn sich die Menschen, die man am meisten im Leben liebt, dafür entscheiden, nicht mehr zusammen zu sein. Aber ich brauche auf jeden Fall lange, bis ich jemandem 100% vertraue. Ich vertraue nicht einfach so.
Ich kann doch nicht in eine Ehe reingehen, ohne dir vollstens zu vertrauen. Also für mich ist es eine Sache, die kann nicht sein. Für mich ist es keine Option, dir nicht zu vertrauen.
Hanni does say that love is beautiful, however, love is painful. And I do hear what she's saying, I do understand, but it's like everything we want in life comes at a cost, comes with a risk. So if you do want love, that beautiful type of love, you do have to take the risk of experiencing some kind of pain. Will it come? Is it inevitable? No. But is it possible? Yeah. And there's that whole saying, it's better to have loved than to have never, it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. Like experiencing that beautiful part that you want is making yourself susceptible to that potential pain. Not inevitable, but it's potential, you know? She says that her parents' separation really broke her and she looks broken. She even got emotional about it. She needed some time away for a second, just to regroup and stuff. And I empathize. I do. I don't want to make it seem like I'm heartless. It's something that I don't understand. My parents are not divorced, so that's a reality that I haven't experienced. So I don't fully understand the complex emotions that she's feeling. However, with all that being said, it is up to you to work through those feelings and determine what is the best way to show up in a relationship, because the way she's showing up right now is not good. And so now you are a hurt person hurting another person when that's not fair to the other person now. So you're now inflicting pain on somebody who has nothing to do with where your pain is stemming from. So I'm like, yes, I do hear her. I do understand. But at some point you got to decide, okay, so am I going to show up differently? Am I going to let my past, keep me from my future? Am I going to now become a hindrance in somebody else's life because I can't figure out my own life? Like, yeah, I feel for you, but at some point we've got to take responsibility for our own lives. There's no way these feelings are coming out of nowhere. She has felt like this before. In her 2 previous relationships, she was unable to say, I love you. Now here she is in a process that ends in marriage. She's not dense. She knew that was happening. So it's like the onus was on you to figure out your feelings on love and relationships and stuff before coming here. And now you have Daniel in the mix, ready to marry you, but you're consistently self-sabotaging. Like, Jen and Marcel are preparing to meet her mother, and she's like, you know what? We're just not there yet.
Ich tue dir gerade nicht gut, du tust mir gerade nicht gut, wir tun einfach einander gerade nicht gut. Weil es ist ja nicht so, dass wir die Zeit, die wir miteinander verbringen, uns gut tut. Im Gegenteil.
Diese Hoffnung und dieser Wunsch einfach so stark, dass es irgendwie doch noch geht.
Aber wie stellst du dir vor, dass wir das Ruder rumreißen?
Dass wir jetzt die Zeit halt einfach noch hier haben und das irgendwie drehen.
Das ist für mich nicht auszuhalten im Apartment, teilweise von der Stimmung her. Ich habe das Gefühl, du kommentierst nicht mit mir.
Also ich versuche es ja.
Wie?
Wie ist der Tag, was kochen wir, sowas, oder?
It's very interesting to me how Marcel is more optimistic than Jen is, just taking into account their personalities. You would think that her being the more lively person, she would be the more optimistic one, but it's actually him who wants to fight for this a little bit harder than she does. At this point, I feel like she's a shell of a woman, and it's so sad to see that vibrant Jen from the beginning is not the Jen who's here now, and it's due to the lack of connection, communication, chemistry, all kinds of things in this relationship. She literally is like, I want you to talk to me. And he's like, I don't talk to you. I don't ask you how's your day. Yeah, she has told him time and time again that their communication needs to be worked on. It seems like he hasn't done anything to do that, to work on that. So yeah, she's at her wit's end and she calls it quits. It sounds like he would have been willing to push it to the bitter end. I feel like if they would have made it to the altar, he would have wanted to be the one to say, no, I don't want to marry you. It feels like he wanted a got you moment. I don't know. But I'm glad she decided that this wasn't working for her. She deserves better. And so she's out. Marcel also said he does have feelings for Jen. He just thinks that they missed their opportunity. No, you missed your opportunity to connect with your fiance, to talk to your fiance, to build a connection. It's almost like he resented the fact that she wanted to get to know him more. Like, how dare you talk to me? How dare you try to prepare to be husband and wife? Like, oh, get away from me. Just be quiet in your corner. We will just be, we'll be in a civil union and mind our own business. Like, sir, yeah. Did he have feelings for Jen? You guys let me know if you think he genuinely had feelings for Jen, because let him tell it, he did. Ilias and Alina have now had sex. You're adults, you do what you want to do, but I remember this man being like, it might intensify things for her. I don't think it's going to do the same for me. Now, this time around, he says that their bond has intensified, so hopefully that's true. They end up meeting Alina's parents over video call, and again, he's presenting like the perfect son.
Ich habe viel von Alex und auch von euch erzählt, bis jetzt nur Gutes.
Ja, das ist doch schon mal was. Die Schwächen du jetzt in dieser kurzen Zeit an der Alina entdecken konntest.
Irgendwie habe ich nichts gefunden die ganze Zeit. Und bei mir war tatsächlich am Anfang so ganz oft der Gedanke irgendwie mitgespielt, dass es irgendwie zu schön, um wahr zu sein. So. Und aber das Schöne ist tatsächlich, ich habe mir immer jemanden gewünscht, der nicht irgendwie aus jeder Mücke einen Elefanten macht. Ich finde irgendwie, das Leben ist zu kurz, um sich irgendwie über alles aufzuregen. Oder irgendwie immer alles schlecht kommt oder mit negativer Stimmung immer nach Hause kommt. Und wir nehmen alles so recht auf die leichte Schulter bis jetzt, aber haben auch sehr ernste und schöne Gespräche.
Ilias says that he wants someone who doesn't take things too seriously, who doesn't take things personal, who has a optimistic outlook on life. And not Jen, who's this? Who are you? Alina. Alina presents as that person. Now I say presents because some of you guys are like, she's an actress, she's a producer plant, whatever. That's a tricky one, because whenever somebody who has actress or actor in their bio on their resume, you immediately think that they are sketchy, but like being an actor and being an actress is a viable career. It's not like you shouldn't always side-eye that person. However, it is tricky because you could very well be performing. And if she is, give her all the coins and more, because I believe it. I do. There was only one time that I was like, I'm not quite sure. I think 2 reviews ago, I said she seemingly doesn't deserve it. So a part of me is like, I want to believe her, but I'm not quite sure. At this point, I do believe her. So if she really is acting, honey, put her on Broadway. She deserves. Sally and Medina have a dinner date night because Medina wants to show off his romantic side.
Hey. Vielleicht liegt ihm Romantik nicht so unbedingt oder er würde es nicht von sich aus so machen.
Sally weiß auch noch gar nicht, ob ich wirklich romantisch bin. Und es wäre dann so der erste Step, ihr zu zeigen, hey, in mir steckt doch ein Romantiker.
Bist du aufgeregt?
Aufgeregt?
Ja.
Ich glaube, so Eltern kennenlernen. Nicht keine Ringe.
Keine Ringe.
Keine zigtausend Ketten.
Ja. Musst du deinen Ohrring rausnehmen.
Aha. Am besten eigentlich Haare schneiden.
Am besten Haare schneiden. Und du weißt, meine Familie wohnt in Hamburg.
Und was ist, wenn ich nah an meiner Mama wohnen will?
Darum geht's mir nicht. Es geht mir darum, dass du gesagt hast. In dem Pods habe ich dich gefragt, ob du bereit bist, nach Hamburg zu ziehen.
After one of y'all said these two kissed kiss like birds, like they have bird pecks. I cannot unsee it. And it's funny because I noticed that their kisses aren't like giving, but bird peck is so specific and incredibly accurate. Like incredibly accurate. So Sally's family is very conservative. So if Medina is to meet her family, he can't have the earrings, the jewelry, the long hair. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm of two minds, right? I'm African. I'm also Christian. So my parents would probably feel the same. If I was bringing somebody like Medina, I think that would be a thought to cross my mind. However, if you truly love someone, why do you feel like you must change them in order to be accepted by your family? I would hope that I would walk into it being like, the way that you are is the way that I love you. And so that's who I'm going to present to my family. If it was things like, okay, well, don't be cursing like a sailor now. Don't be saying some out of pocket stuff. You know, I feel like that's a little bit different, but his aesthetic for the most part is who he is. You want this man to cut his locks? In theory? A little bit weird, but okay. And yes, I do know some people's sense of style changes over time, especially in relationships, but I don't know. It just kind of felt like she would be stripping him of a part of his identity. And it's like, at that point, is he really the perfect match for you if you have to change him to fit in? I don't know. He eventually says, well, actually, they talk about moving as well. In the pods, he was all in for moving. Now he's like, well, I don't want to be far from my family. And she's like, well, I don't want to be far from my family, especially once we have kids. And he's like, oh, you don't think my family can support our kids and stuff? Listen, first of all, Medina, let's not act like it's the same. It's not. You know it's not. But I did understand his perspective. Like, I would want to be considered as well if we're thinking about where we want to live. I don't want to be far from my family, same way you don't want to be far from your family. Where he loses me, though, is in the pods, he was being agreeable. And that's the problem with the pods, too. Because it feels so fairy tale-like, it feels like a utopian situation. People agree to a lot of things that when thinking rationally, when on the outside, they wouldn't have agreed to. But the issue is, I don't know you. So I'm basing my decision off of the information that you give me. If you say hands down, I'm willing to move where you're at, I would expect you to keep that same energy when we're on the outside. And so he's kind of changing it up now. And he says that he should be accepted for who he is fully. He shouldn't have to change in order to be embraced by her and her family, which is correct. But you presented yourself, as far as the moving part is concerned, a different way. Alina and Ilyas also talk about moving. This was a better conversation because Alina is willing to go wherever her husband is.
Ich habe echt Sorge, dass du dich nicht wohlfühlst in Aschebeck, ne?
Darüber machst du dir Sorgen?
Schon ein bisschen.
Nee, das Ding ist, also ich könnte in der tollsten Stadt der Welt wohnen, aber wenn meine Wohnung ungemütlich ist, dann würde ich mich unwohl fühlen.
Nein, schlecht ist es auf keinen Fall.
Ich bin
das
ja
ist
nicht
nur
für
anders
immer-
als da, wo du jetzt wohnst halt. Wohnung kannst du machen, was du willst.
Ja, schau. So schlecht ist es ja gar nicht.
Das ist so, du siehst immer nur das Gute.
Ja, muss man doch auch sehen.
It's great that Alina is just so accommodating, so understanding, often to her detriment. But girl, to uproot your life for a man who isn't even completely sure about you, God forbid. Oh my gosh. Imagine picking up your entire life. Didn't that happen to Sheila? Yeah, she picked up her entire life, moved to where her boyfriend was just for that man to not even treat her right. And now you're here in this foreign place. You don't have your support system. You don't have your friends. You don't, God forbid. I'm actually cool with moving to where your husband is, but like a proper husband, not what's happening here. So Ilyas is praising her a lot for how understanding she is, how accommodating she is, how willing she is to compromise. And I'm not saying this is what he's doing, but as a Black woman, this sounds very similar to when we hear, oh, you're so strong, you're so resilient. Oftentimes that means pain and heartbreak are on their way. This person is going to put you through the ringer because they know you're going to be the steadfast, long-suffering wife. Oh, That's what that reminded me of. And I'm thinking, at some point, I would be like, okay, you're praising me a little bit too much for being so agreeable and so understanding and so compromising. Like, at what point does she look at herself and be like, no, but I actually need to stand my ground on certain things because I'm giving up a lot. I'm sacrificing a lot for this relationship. What are you sacrificing? Where's your end in this? I don't know if she's looking for that, but I would question that. So Hani and Daniel had some situation that led her to want to leave for a few days. She wanted to go to a hotel so she can get her mind right. She wasn't quite sure where she wanted things to go with her and Daniel, so she just needed a break. They reconnect and it actually was a fruitful conversation.
Das war ja nicht mehr ich selbst, deswegen habe ich ja gesagt, ich muss gehen, ich bin nicht mehr ich selber. Ja, ich fand's gut, mal ein bisschen Abstand zu haben. Ich versuche eigentlich jede Situation eigentlich aus dem Weg zu gehen, weil ich für mich sein möchte.
Also was brauchst du wirklich jetzt? Also was brauchst du noch?
Und außerdem, wenn ich ein bisschen Freiraum für mich habe, dann komme ich ja auch von alleine. Er hat immer Verständnis für mich. Das zeigt mir auch, nach schweren Zeiten kommen auch gute Zeiten.
I like that Daniel was asking what he can do to make things better for her. Clearly she's overwhelmed, and so he wants to show up in the best way possible so that she doesn't get overwhelmed again. The thing that's irritating, though, is that they've already had this conversation. They had it when they were playing, was it tennis? Were they playing tennis? I think it was. And he was like, I'm the type of person who doesn't need space, but if you do, say it. Vocalize it so that I can grant that to you because I don't want you to be suffering in silence. And now it sounds like she's been suffering in silence. Days before the wedding, you want to take time away from me respectfully? I would think, well, that's it. Because what do you mean? That's me. Maybe I'm the problem. I don't know. But yeah, he gave her an opportunity and she didn't take it. And so I'm just thinking, you internalize a lot of things and then it comes out later when it could have been addressed earlier. This even ties into the inability to tell your partner that you love them. Like, your hesitancy to vocalize your feelings is going to end up tarnishing the relationship. There's going to be some resentment on your side, on his side. Like, the emotional repression, y'all. Germany, what's good? It's like, I know some of you guys were saying that in Germany, people don't really express their feelings in general, but like in marriages too? Damn. In order to build a deeper connection, Sally wants to do an exercise with Medina where they stare deeply, longingly into each other's eyes for however long, and they do it in silence.
Also, wenn ich an die Hochzeit denke, sind da auf jeden Fall einige Sorgen, einige Ängste.
Irgendwie bin ich super nervös.
Ich möchte nicht einfach nur jetzt Ja sagen, weil es sich schön anfühlt und ich ihn gerne habe.
Sally zeigt mir einfach so, hey, es ist okay, dass man auch vielleicht Angst hat.
Irgendwie habe ich mir das nicht so intensiv vorgestellt.
Ich kann es gar nicht beschreiben, das war so.
Ja, ich kann auch nicht beschreiben, warum ich geweint habe oder so.
The whole time they were doing this, I was like, this would be the time to actually have a conversation. Like, this would be the time. I get the whole, looking at each other. It's just a moment to be in your feelings. Just like allow yourself to think uninterrupted and also take into account your partner. Because they're thinking too. And that, they're going through a lot. The scenarios are just running through their mind. Like, I totally get it. They both express that this experiment, the staring, not the whole, everything, okay, is intense and it's heavy, but they don't divulge what feelings they are feeling. She says, oh, it's like I can read your mind. And he says, I can tell you're going through a lot. What are these things? Can we talk about them? Let's talk about the a lot. Let's not just say a lot. Let's unpack the a lot, I feel like I can read your mind. What's his mind saying? What is it? Let's talk about it. They both express that they might be in over their heads. Again, let's talk about why. Why do you think that this is the bad decision? Like, that's a fruitful conversation too. You can talk about why this is good and why this is bad, and weigh the good and the bad and see which direction is the way that you should go. Like, there's a lot of miscommunication with this couple simply because they just don't communicate. And so you're filling in blanks that you don't even know are correct or not because you're using your own assumptions, which has been the theme with these two from the time that they met. Instead of talking through their feelings, they just assumed how the other person felt, and so things didn't go well. Let's talk. Let's talk. Damn. It's time for Hani and Daniel to prepare for their wedding. And Hani raves about how amazing of a guy Daniel is. He doesn't treat her like a princess. He treats her like a queen. He is a top tier man. However, that hasn't made this decision easy for her.
Es ist noch viel mehr los als bei mir, so. Was das Ganze halt schwierig macht.
Wir supporten dich da, egal was du machst. Wir stehen hinter dir.
Daniel hat meine Mauern erlebt, aber die hat er einfach ignoriert. Ja, ich habe noch nie jemanden so nah an mich rangelassen oder... Leute, es sind wirklich alle Emotionen heute.
Jetzt sind alle Energien, die nicht zu dir gehören, weg. Und egal was du tust, wir sind bei dir. Du weißt, wir stehen hinter dir.
Self-sabotage is so interesting because she is riddling all these things about Daniel that make him a great man. I have yet to hear her say one bad thing about him. Even when she tried to see if he had bad traits, oh, is he jealous? Will he judge the way I dress? Will he... No, none of it. He could be performing, but at this point, she hasn't even said that. Sometimes people will say, oh, I wonder if he's too good to be true. I wonder if he's pretending. I wonder... She hasn't even said that. At least I haven't clocked it. So the issue was her. And because she is in a place where she's uncertain of like marriage, of her feelings and stuff, she might be missing out on a good thing. Now, that's not necessarily bad. If you are not ready, don't do it. If you are unsure, don't do it. Don't do it. Because then if you become sure in the marriage that you don't want to be with this person, now we have to go through a divorce. Now we have to deal with hurt feelings. And now it's just, ugh. This reminds me of Inside Out. I know it's a kid's movie, but it had very adult themes, okay? Wholesome adult themes. And it was like, anxiety isn't actually bad. But if you let anxiety run wild, you will make dumb decisions. You will do things that are against your own interests. Like, it is trying to protect you, but its overprotectiveness ends up being to your detriment. It ends up making worse decisions than it just being under control. Being anxious is not a bad thing. Like, but now responding out of fear and anxiousness, that's a problem. Be aware of, this could go this way. However, I know that it's a good overall decision, so I'm going to say yes to this. That's what I was thinking throughout this whole thing. Like, man, she's really letting anxiety hold her back because, like I said before, I haven't heard her say a bad thing about him. So we will see what her decision will be tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow's the finale, and everybody else's decision is going to be tomorrow. Like I said, I don't see anybody really getting married outside of these two, and unfortunately, Ilias and Alina. It could have been Sally and Medina if they had just opened up more, but I haven't seen them open up enough for me. Yeah. Actually, who else is that? That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because Jen and Marcel are gone. Damn. So we'll see. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.